our senses, right? We can see, taste, touch, smell, and hear.
Let's get it! Click tight! Constantly intimidating those who speak the language of rhyme. A maniacal prodigal, putting pressure on the mind. The deadliest of my kind. Deep inside the corridors of hardcore, my word is law. I spawn scriptures that can't be ignored. With the nature of a cruel identity, do have the gift of symphony to strip the sanity with some obscenity. Threaten enemies, correcting all frequencies with the rhymes of authority. Polluting adolescents and perennials alike. So brutal on the mic to make MCs bite the pillow. I have but one rival, and that's the devil. So I bury this corpse and hit the shovel 6 feet deep as I creep into another level. Spoken chronicles beyond the gravel. I sight the individual of rotting evil, ready for battle and move the crowd like cattle. With a voice that can beckon the brain, a beat that causes name. Let's get it! Already know. Let's get it! Click tight! Dangerous thought! Click tight!
I love the new opening. I love that song.
Right?
Love it.
Brought to us by Click Tight, CLICTYT. Click Tight. This is Dangerous Thoughts. I'm your host, Manu Entereme. This is my co-host. I've only practiced that like 58 times. I still get it wrong. You know, just like trying to shave in a mirror. Is that right? Shaving in a mirror is difficult, right? Yeah, because it's always backwards. Your body wants to move one way. It's the same with the camera and pointing at you. Ha! I did it.
We got it. We got it. You're right
Pelvic
there.
thrust and a little bit of my old man belly for that one. Good morning. Hey, everybody that watches Dangerous Thoughts. You're here. We're here. And we're totally effed this episode. We don't have a guest. Actually, we do. We have a guest. His name is Doctor Simeon Hein. Just going to tell you the honest truth here, because what you will get from me and what you will get from this show, I guarantee it, is honesty. It's we're all about talking S and talking smack, talking shit. Is that legal, you think? Like doing the vowel sounds between the word and then you're no longer saying it? Like fuck.
Shit,
I
fuck,
didn't really
what?
Whoa!
Okay. I've said it all. We're good. We're good. Yeah.
Kiok, Siuker, and Tiats, right? That's where you were going with that. I wonder if that's legal. I wonder if that's legal to just, change the vowel sounds, and maybe we could cuss all day long. Like our show could be nothing but 60
You know
minutes.
what? One of the greatest things about South Park the movie, 1999, South Park, bigger, longer, uncut. The whole moral of the movie was, in America, you can show horrible, graphic violence, guts spilling out, blood, everything, but they bleep a cuss word, right? It's like that. Yeah. That's where our morals are. It's like you can't say a bad word. No,
rip off legs, rip off arms.
You can rape, you can kill, you can murder, you can have blood coming out, but don't say the S word. Like that. Like really?
Don't show a penis or a vagina either. That's one of the things. You can
I'm half
millions.
tempted, but I won't. But yeah, seriously. And how many times
but they blur out the penis while the guy's obliterating millions?
Yeah, but female frontal, perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine, as long as you don't
perfectly
get up
fine.
In there. If you get up
perfectly
in there,
fine. Yeah,
problems.
and male nudity from the back is fine.
Yeah,
but the front,
show it angle. Yeah, what's his name can get away in the 80s. Remember when Wayne's World?
Oh, here we go.
And he had the little sweater tied around him, and he's going around the bar going swing, 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 swing.
What about Superman?
1978
Superman, the little boy holding up the truck, his little penis.
Oh yeah, his little wiener was right there.
Yeah,
for us
there it was.
That would be like
the
pedophilia
reboot
today.
Yeah, the reboot has it blurred, but the original, there he was, little Ding,
Little
ding,
wiener, little Superman
little
wiener.
wiener. But it was art.
Was
It wasn't pornography. That's, I guess, the difference.
because
I
he's
don't
holding
know.
up a car with his penis. No, with his arms. Okay.
I mean, he wasn't jacking it up, if you know what I mean. But yeah, get it.
People have to. There's some. All right. So, if you didn't get it yet, we do have a guest. He's going to show up sometime during the show. His name is Dr. Simeon Hein. He's researched crop circles and their connections to UFOs. He's written a bunch of books. He'll also talk about alien encounters, mysterious objects, different forms of matter, beings, and other elements in the universe. But until he shows up, it's just me and Tyson bullshitting like we used to on the old show on X,
yeah,
which used to be called Twitter. We would just get on and we would talk. We would just talk about shit that was real. So that's what we're doing until Simeon shows up. I took a big pee before the show. I did. I took a real long, nice pee. Oh, let me tell you this. This is
a league of their own. A league of their own. Thomas Hanks kind of pee, right?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
Let me tell you, at 46, my good friend of mine on the phone told me, you're not old till you're 47. Anyway, at 46, I'm getting closer and closer to peeing my pants all the time. Like last week, the show, I was hanging out after the show, talking crap with Catie and some of the other people that live here, just hanging out, shooting the tunes, shooting the blues. And I forgot to pee, and I jumped in my car and I was like, oh, I got to pee. Maybe I should run in and pee. Now I can probably hold it till I get home. You don't do that after 45. I pulled into the Arby's and I'm literally like, in my car, just like moving, and I'm holding the very tip of my penis shut. Like that's going to somehow help. Through my jeans, though.
I need a fucking coin to get into this bathroom.
Yeah. Oh my God. And I'm trying to hand the lady my credit card, and I'm trying to pretend like I'm just fine. There was no way that I was going to wait for the food. There was not a chance in hell. So I just peeled out and I drove around the back of the Arby's, and I jumped out of my car, and I was like getting at my belt, getting at my jeans, and just all over the parking lot. I'm sure they had cameras. I'm sure they saw it all, but so close to just evacuating in my pants. And I'm sure that it's going to happen like a lot as we get older, right?
Now, let me tell you something. 47 is nice. Okay. That's cute. I'm 50.
So how many times have you peed your pants?
Oh, get used to this. Any tree, a redwood, an oak, mahogany, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. A tree is a bathroom after 50. A tree is a bathroom after 50. And, even if the cops come, all you have to do is kind of crook your back and be like, I'm over 50. I had to pee.
Peeing on a tree. Yeah.
It's good. It's all good. Yeah. You gotta, because of all the people that go in and wreck the bathrooms and do the tagging and everything. Now they've got in fast food places, they got bathrooms where you got to get a token. You got to put the token in and turn the token. Really, I'm going to pee on your fucking door.
Pee on your door. I got to put a token in. Yeah. Yeah.
God, token. Where's the redwood? I'm going.
Yeah, I didn't need a tree. I mean, I was straight up in an openly lit parking lot, just free form evacuating. And I pee all the time. It seems like I'm peeing a lot lately. Not to the point where like my kidneys are effed up. I know the difference. But I know at this age, I just can't hold it in as long as I used to. Malice says, but did Tyson pee on the butt plug he saw outside of the restaurant that one time?
Okay, so here's the story on that. So Mala brought it up. I've got to tell the story. There's a really nice, really fancy, very expensive. I mean, Peter and I go there weekly or every other week, and we never walk out of that restaurant outside of $200. It's a pretty exclusive seafood on the lake. Really nice, really nice.
White people place.
And so I remember what my brother said. It killed me. I walked out into the parking lot. I was going to have a cigarette. I walked out in the parking lot, and right in front of me, right on the parking lot, right by the curb, was this black butt plug. It was just there, butt plug. And I'm
Which you
thinking to
sent me a picture
myself,
of.
yes, I did. And I'm thinking, imagine you're from LA. Imagine you're in Beverly Hills. You're at the Brown Derby, or really exclusive, nice restaurant. You find a butt plug.
Yeah, whose is that?
I went out. I told the manager. The manager didn't know what a butt plug was, so one of the workers had to explain. That was probably the best part of the whole story. Is a worker had to actually explain what a butt plug was and how it worked and why it exists, and I probably took more amusement from that than anything. But then they sent several workers out. They had
Several.
a plastic bag on the hand, and they
Yeah.
picked it up and they threw it away. But it was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. The funniest thing.
The
And my
workers
brother,
dealing with
here's
it
what so I
multiple.
took a picture. I put it on Facebook, and my brother tweeted, "Well, why is this butt plug here?" And my brother tweeted, "Well, somebody had to pay for dinner."
Well, that's what I was thinking, actually. Like, how the heck does a stranded butt plug end up in a restaurant parking lot?
At
It's
a
an
fancy
interesting
restaurant dinner. Yeah, it's like,
Hi,
well,
Sammy Joe.
okay,
What's up?
somebody paid for dinner. That's what it was doing there, and then they were done with it. Doing.
But usually, all right, so when I used butt plugs in the past, I would always have it in either myself or the person that was wearing it. Usually it was somebody else that was wearing it. I'm not really fond of running around with butt plugs. I know that like 3 to 7% of police officers wear them 24/7. It's an actual fact. I read that in Playboy
Wow.
magazine. Well, you get it. Police are kind of the people that, like, they're dominant. They want to tackle you and beat you up, and so they're that 3 to 7% of like dominant, mean, bully, gay. They're
Hey,
wearing butt plugs.
cops are tight asses, and if it helps loosen them up, so
Loosen
be
them
it.
up. There you go. Right.
I'm good.
So, but when I but and when
Don't do that. I just took a drink. Don't do
yeah.
that.
But when I would participate in butt plug a thon or whatever butt plug play is, I would usually have the person wear it at the restaurant or during the movies, or like, you have to wear this for a particular amount of time as my slave. And so after the movies and dinner, your orifice, which is the name of a great Netflix series. All these big buttholes open all around the world. It's so weird. Japanese series, orifice. But it's so the orifice is loosened up. That's what I thought butt plugs were for. What
yeah,
else?
and in the gay community, it is to relax the sphincter, if you will, so that anal sex is more tolerable, I guess. It doesn't hurt as bad. I don't know. I've never been a bottom. I don't. I'm speaking from what other people have told me. That if you wear a butt plug for long enough, then it makes you. Am I allowed? I
It
don't think
loosens it up.
I don't think I'm
Yeah.
allowed to do that, but it loosens it up. So, but every time I think of a plug, I think what happens when you pull out the plug. I mean,
Yeah, it scares
if
me too.
yeah, not
But
going to
the
get into
butt plug
that.
in the parking lot looked relatively clean. So I'm wondering why, where, how.
It
We'll
looked
never
like it
know.
had been there for a minute too, which also brings to question how long a butt plug can sit in a parking lot and not
Without somebody
be
doing about it.
noticed.
Yeah.
Right. Was I the only gay patron that walked over and said, "I recognize this"?
That tis a butt plug.
It
Butt plug
tis a
there.
butt plug.
I must tell the
Why
management.
arst thou
Okay, Jesse is
Catie?
approaching 5 decades of life and didn't know people used plugs just out in public in an outing. 5 decades of life. See, that's what I mean by Star Trek fans. There are so many Star Trek fans that are sexually repressed. And I'm just guessing that if you watch this show, maybe you might be a Star Trek fan. In fact, before the show started, Tyson was like,
there we go. There we go. There it is. There it is.
Oh yeah, there's a space twink. I was like, yeah,
that's
myself in the mirror.
That is him. That is him. That's
me
right there.
That's
with the comm badge. Yeah.
Yeah. Talking to my little gay buddy in that show.
What was his name?
Something. Hey, Itchy. Hey, Cue Ball. Hey, you want to go to the back of the ship? Sure, let's go.
I always thought that's what happened. I thought you guys got it on, but
Itchy and Cue Ball. Guys don't call each other that macho wise. Hey, Itchy, what's up? How you doing, Cue Ball? Let's fucking let's go build a house. Space twinks.
Pick out curtains. I'm gonna pick out the curtains. I want flowers. Paisleys.
I'm watching Cassie Rumor, our producer, and he's just sighing over there. I've seen like 3 big during this show. It's pretty funny. But all right. So off of butt plugs on.
You're working for him.
Working hard. Working hard for those sighs.
We're working for those.
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you something honest about me that I've done, and I still do in life, but at this age, I have controlled it a bit. In my 20s and in my 30s and in my 40s, and I can't remember the last time I did it, but I think I've told people this before. I would butt splash. Yeah, you ever take a poop, and when you're taking a poop, you get a little butt splash, and the water comes back. Am I gonna, is something in that water that's danger? I need to clean that somehow, some way, right? So after
if it's a solid turd, that's fine. But if you get butt splash after diarrhea, then it's questionable.
But even the solid, you never know if something's like ejecting or flicking off the side. So I used to use people's towels. Like if I went to the bathroom at somebody else's house, how they have the nice clean towels. I would make sure that I was good with like people's hand towels, bath towels.
You wiped your ass with their towels?
Well, yeah, just the splash area. After I finished wiping, just the splash area, I'd be like, okay, and I would use people's. Yeah, isn't that? I know that's wrong, and so these days,
quick question to our producer Catie. Has Manu ever used the bathroom at your house?
I'm thinking about all the times now. My question would be, did you wash your hands afterwards and then dry them with said towel?
Did he wash his ass before he wiped it with?
Oh, I would even do that at other people's houses. I would get up in that sink and I would fucking run the sink and clean. And then use the towel at other people's homes. That was like how much care and concern that I really had for people. So when I had to look deep inside and go, Manu, are you a loving person? Do you care about people? And are you like really a decent person? I've thought back over my life and I've been like, yeah, but there are some things that you do that are very not cool. Like I don't recycle enough. Like I was a hippie. Like I was raised by hippies, and I still throw cans and fucking all sorts of horrible shit in my trash.
Like he shit in your house.
Look at him. Yeah. Like if this was the old show, we'd have
the only towel that's really like hanging up in our house that I can think of on the regular is Dave's towel.
That's the thing.
And you guys can't see him, but Dave is backstage.
Cassie doesn't have towels. It's true. I'll be looking around. I'll get a little butt splash at Cassie's house, and I'll be like, "Oh, where's the towels? There's no freaking hanging towels in this place." He doesn't set himself up for failure. Because truthfully, if you're one of those like prim and proper people that put your towels up in your bathroom for your guests, you're setting yourself up for some kind of eye disease or pink eye.
It's not for your ass. It's for your
I know, but some people are like me, and I'm just warning you. There's more than one out there.
Oh my God. You were never. Oh my God, you're never coming to my house, Manu. I love you with all my heart, but
Also, also, you must practice how to hold your orgasm in. I was so bad at sex for the longest time. If we're gonna just stick with the honesty thing, man, what a womanizer I used to be in my 20s. Like in my
oh,
teens, I couldn't control my orgasms. In my 20s, I couldn't control my orgasms. Like I was like the cool TV Hollywood guy that girls were like, "Oh my God, I get a chance to sleep with this cool TV Hollywood guy." And I'd be like, "1, 2, thanks so much. Goodbye." So many letdowns out there. There's so many letdowns out there.
yeah.
You got to learn to control. So, as an older man, you got to learn to control that
Well, I'm
pleasure center.
50, and I can come in like less than 3 minutes. Just
Well,
boom.
dude, I could come in less than 3 seconds if I wanted to. The point is, you got to learn that control, and whether
No.
you're
I mean,
humping a
3
couch
minutes
like
is
J.D.
my
Vance or
3 minutes is my record. That's my record. Like
that's as
I just
long as you.
usually like
It
I
usually
have
must.
held it. Yeah, one time it was like it took me 3 whole minutes to come, and I marked that on the calendar. Like that's rare. Like usually it's like,
Wow.
oh, you touched it, and then done, right?
It's so strange. See, this is the thing. I think people in general should talk about sex much more often than we do.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
save it for like comedians or stand-up or whatever. But so this makes me wonder, in the gay culture, is there just a bunch of lame dudes like you that are like 1, 2, and I'm out? Is
Lame
that normal or is
dudes
that just
like
you?
me.
Well, see, that's like I used to be a 1, 2, and I'm out guy, and I let so many people down that had probably this huge like, oh, it's the space twink. I'm gonna get so much joy from this experience. And I just look, I didn't, it was, what's it called when it's not rape? Consensual.
Yeah, it's called sex when it's not rape.
Yeah. So it was consensual sex. Don't get me wrong. I didn't I didn't like abuse anybody, but I sure let a lot of people down. And I'm so glad that I taught myself how to hold that in.
Okay. It's
It's a chance to go again. What's the problem? See, Dennis is right. It's a chance to go again, but you always have to have that like 10-minute recharge. And I was such a self-involved lover that the 10-minute recharge would be like, yeah, just give me 10 minutes. And then I'd be like snoring.
Here's the thing.
10
If
minutes.
I came really quick, then you were hot, you were sexy, and I just couldn't
Oh, it's a
help
compliment?
myself. Yeah, it's a compliment. If
That's
it
what
took me 10
what
minutes to
all
come,
self-involved
you're
people
like
tell you.
you're like a bag lady, right? It took a long time because you weren't.
You weren't
So
doing it for me.
anybody who felt shortchanged by me, that's a good thing on you. Just
Yeah,
saying
it's
right
good
now.
on you.
Yeah,
Now,
it's
so
good
all
on you.
right. Now, don't you think it's wrong though? So we started the show talking about violence, ultra violence. There's horrible things going on in the world right now. There's wars on multiple fronts. Africa's getting cut up by all these powerful corporations and uber nations of rich wealth, Saudi Arabia, United States, Great Britain. They're pushing people off their land. They're killing people in the dark. But we talk about a little bit of pre-ejaculation, and somehow like our show is gonna get banned. Isn't that it's just messed up? It really is. We gotta loosen up.
I agree. We started talking about South Park and how gory violence is okay, but you can't say a swear word. I think ethics and morals and so forth. It is a little confused. Let me take Israel
Especially
for a
in
moment.
America, right?
World War II. So many Jews died, and I'm not a Holocaust, and of course they died. They died. Hitler, horrible, etc.
I got a little
But
Hitler
now
mustache going today. Look,
yeah, a little bit of that, right? But I see what Israel's doing right now, and don't get me wrong, Israel was attacked. Israel had to respond. I think of 9/11, we had to respond. I get that, but right now, I mean, it feels like I was just looking at my phone earlier. earlier today, a camp for women and children sheltering was bombed by Israel. It's like I supported, World War II and everything. I support Israel's right to exist. And there's so many Muslim nations. There's only one Israel. They all want Israel to die, and I get they need to defend themselves, but that's not a permission slip to do atrocities just because atrocities were done on you, right? Like if I was gay
the one
bashed,
dude.
that doesn't give me the right to go out and bash somebody else, does it?
No, it doesn't. And in fact, I was the one guy during 9/11 that was driving around LA at the time, and there were all these people in all these bars waving flags and yeah, let's get them and honking. I was the one guy going, why don't we just light some candles and fucking grieve?
And it was
what did we have to do? 20 years of a war on terror because of that? Really? This is my point of view as a pacifist. People. Like, what the frick?
It was 10 people coordinated under Saddam Hussein. He got 10 people to hijack planes and do this. And yet not. Was it Saddam Hussein or was
no,
it?
No, it wasn't. That's one of the. Remember, Bush said that it was Saddam, but he didn't have any weapons. And he had no part of it. You're forgetting the name of the.
It was Osama bin Laden.
Osama bin Laden. I said Saddam Hussein. Osama bin Laden. See, I still have South Park on the brain. Saddam Hussein.
And then, like the very next election, we elect a guy with the same name.
But we killed.
Weird.
It took 10 Iraqi and Afghanis to bring down a couple of towers, and yet we punished 1 million Middle Eastern people as a result. Yeah. Right?
I don't think it was necessary, but I'm a pacifist, anti-war guy, and I don't know if I'm a complete and total ignorant moron with the way things work in the world and that war drives economy and that we always are going to have to do that or things won't work. But I seem to think I seem to think that there's got to be some way for human beings to stop killing each other on all fronts and stop the kingdoms and collapse and nation states battling over stuff like God. I hate all that stuff. God's name, really, like they use.
It's huge in American politics now, right? It's like they're trying to bring Christianity back into the political. And I was born and raised a Christian. Don't get me wrong. I believe in Christianity, but I also believe that that's a private thing. That government and the private were separate, right? I could be a Christian. I could be Jewish. I could be Muslim. I could be atheist. I could be whatever I want to be. And the state, the government, is transcended. It's above that. It doesn't involve itself in the religion.
Plenty of people spilled blood. You talk about spilling blood. The Revolutionary War was all about that, right? So that state and freedom of religion and the government was never a controlled religion or chose your religion. Oh my God.
Right. But look at states that have it. Look at Iraq, Iran, Israel. Any state that has a state religion, they're always at war.
Yeah. And so if you're a Christian nationalist, get your thumb out of your butt and read your own book. It's about love and it's about empathy and loving thy neighbor and forgiving and forgetting. And it's not about eye for an eye. That's the old book. Jesus was like about loving people and taking care of people. Jesus was not about bombing the crap out of others. Let's move on to a different subject. The Olympics this week. They tried to take, they did. They took our American gymnasts' bronze medal. Long story short, we complained that her difficulty points on I forget what the do you know what it was? Was it a vault?
I don't remember. I don't remember what the scale is, but they were 4 seconds late to make the objection, and now it's gone to the court, and now it's moving up to a different court. And I agree with you. You made a post, Manu, that said, "Why don't you just give them both a bronze medal?" I mean, what
Yeah.
Why?
It's a big penny. Just give it to both of them.
Just
Come
give it
on.
to both of them, right? Right? Why go through all this, and yet it's ridiculous.
It
Why
is
not
ridiculous.
honor them both and just
These
give them
women
both?
have worked so hard,
Yes.
and
Yes.
they both deserve it. And if anything comes up like this in the Olympics, the Olympic Committee is always blowing it. The Olympic courts, the Olympic that doctor scandal where that total perv doctor was like literally sexually assaulting like hundreds of gymnasts in that like camp. And I love women's gymnastics, and it's so sucky that it's so tainted by the disgustingness behind the scenes of the Olympics. You ever seen that documentary on Dr. Nasser?
Yep.
That was his name.
Yep.
Speaking of someone that deserves to be canceled, that dude, I hope he's in a cage. Nasty dude, was literally, putting his hands inside young women and calling it a procedure for years, like 25 years or something of women's gymnastics. Gross. But it was beautiful to watch the gymnasts perform this year, and so proud of like everybody in the Olympics. Like the Olympics should be this beautiful, fun event. Shouldn't be so tainted by. Is everything in the world tainted by controversy, or is there some things that work?
No, you're absolutely right. And the Olympics started in ancient Greece, and actually for very similar reasons that we do it today in modern times. The Olympics was a way for nations to come together, even nations that were normally against each other, to come together communally and compete in games that had nothing to do with war or retribution or anything like that, just to compete. And it was amazing. It started in the BC Greece era, and all the way till now. And the Olympics came from Greece.
Yeah, they did. Tyson, you're usually way smarter than me, but the modern Olympic era did not start all the way back then. That's when
The original
Olympics were held then for
was
sure.
in
But
Greece.
like
Yeah.
these Olympics, I don't know how old our Olympics are. They're not that old, but
But they go back to the modern Olympics rekindled in the late 1800s. I know that Nazi Germany, 1938 Olympics, was held in Germany, and
that was a big
the
deal.
Olympics, huge deal.
Yeah. I know. I think it's like early this century. I don't know. Are they 100 years old? I don't know. Maybe somebody does.
More
But
than
yeah,
100.
but that's the idea, right? Is that a bunch of people come together and show off their talents, and we have a big party, and it's beautiful, and it's not all about what the
Every 4
disgusting
years.
things that happen.
Every 4 years.
Yeah, and like what I find crazy about the Olympics too is it seems like it doesn't pay. To me, like. All right, these girls that get into gymnastics, the way that it's ran for the last 25 years is if you wanted your little kid to do gymnastics, I even remember when they came to my school when I was a kid, they came and they were like, we're from the Olympics. We're looking for talented people that want to leap and flip off vaults. And I was like, fuck that. But some of the other kids were like, okay. And their parents like go. And actually my wife, was kind of suckered in for a second. They brought them to the Olympic camp. The parents paid all this money to have her trained. She did a few flips and said, this is not for me. But the money to have your child trained and to stay in the program and to make the program that was ran by this old man and this old woman from Romania that were like sort of psychopaths. That actually came from the old Romanian Republic where they were like, we must drill everything into these women and they must perform. Like, you remember when Carrie Strug was running 20 years ago and like, you can do it for your country, break your leg. And she ran and she leaped. And the first time she landed, she was like all tweaked and messed up, but she did it again for the country. That is so messed up. We don't do that for like.
I agree.
football and basketball. If one of our basketball athletes falls down and hurts his ankle really bad, we don't say, get back in the game for New Jersey. Come on.
No.
We say, go take care of your ankle, get better. But in
I
the
went to-
Olympics, it's like, break yourself, woman, break yourself.
I went to school in La Mesa, and Helix High School was my high school. My husband, Michael, graduated from this little known, like North Central California high school called Arroyo Grande. Arroyo Grande. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. That's where my husband graduated. Yeah, Arroyo Grande. I think maybe, Manu, you've heard of that high school, but that's where he graduated.
Yeah, I've been there
A couple years.
Arroyo Grande. Oh, weird.
Arroyo Grande. Yeah, and his grandmother lived in Pismo Beach, and his dad in Fresno, and so he was between Fresno, Pismo Beach, and Arroyo Grande. But he graduated Arroyo Grande, and one of the coolest things is when I talk to him about this, and I say, hey, you know that Star Trek actor up there, Icheb? Yeah, he went to the same high school that you did. Just you were a few years ahead of him.
Oh, which that brings up another topic for me. There's this thing called Classmates. You ever heard of it?
Yeah. They spam up my email. I get them.
Yeah. What a joke that is, man. I made the mistake of like clicking on that. And I went and joined it. I want to see where some of my old buddies from high school were doing. And I gave them my name and my email. And oh, God. Yeah.
30 emails a day.
Bombard you with. Yes. And then they say, oh, if you really want to join Classmates, here's 30 spam emails a day asking you for money so that you can see pictures of your classmates. And I'm like,
oh, and they send you emails Facebook, saying, anybody? This person looked you up. This person looked you up. Yeah, do you want to know? Do you want to know who looked you up? Pay $30 and we'll tell you who looked at your profile. Right?
Yeah, that's the whole. Whole. I don't know how they make money. I mean, I guess Facebook does it, but Facebook makes billions off it. So Classmates must be like tickling the little pennies that are
over here. Famous Star Trek actor over here. Nobody, but we get the same amount of emails saying, "Pay money to see who looked you up."
Yeah. Hey, Tyson, I have a question for you. We started this show, and to me, you seemed semi-sober. You're freaking butt-faced all of a sudden. How did that happen? How did that happen so quickly?
So I went to the bar. I went to the bar earlier today and playing pool, had a few beers, no big deal. Then I went to the winery, Barrel One. They sponsored us once. I should wear my hat. Anyway, I had a glass of wine there. I came home, and then I've had a couple of drinks now. And you remember, you'll remember that last week you were the one who was fucked up. Yes. This week. Cheers.
My turn. Cheers. No, I got nothing against it. This is another thing. All right. If I'm just being honest, I don't like the judgment in the human species for people and what kind of drugs or spirits they like to imbibe. You'll find alcoholics that like get on stoners, and you'll find stoners that like get on alcoholics, and you'll find pharmaceutical addicts that don't even believe that they're an addict of any kind or that they use drugs of any kind because a doctor wrote a note, getting on stoners and alcoholics. And I truthfully believe that all human beings need a little head change now and then. So whether you're running a marathon or you're popping a Xanax or you're going out and boning all the time or whatever, it's a drug. It's a head change. And like, quit judging each other let's legalize drugs, I guess is my point.
Oh yeah. I was at the bar the other day and somebody was like, oh my God, this person tweaks. They do this, that, the other thing. They lit up a cigarette, had a beer. It's like, okay, nicotine, alcohol. And I mean, they're all drugs, right?
They're all drugs.
They're all drugs.
Sugar, I mean, kills you. It all kills you. Air, Air is a drug. Oxygen leads to the end of your life. So let's stop judging people. Let's end the prison system. Can we just get this done already? Can we just stop building prisons, change them all into rehabs, legalize drugs, tell everybody that
there you go.
How dangerous this drug is, how dangerous this drug is. Instead of, in my day, the DARE program would come in and they would say, hey kids, drugs are dangerous. Drugs are bad, okay? All of them. They're all bad. And they're all going to make you become an old dead person in jail or dead. Don't do it.
I literally
That's
watched
the
Star Trek,
stupidest, right? Come on.
Star Trek
How about
Voyager
hey kids,
episode.
pot's all right. Pot's not gonna make you addicted. You can smoke pot. Pot's kind of fun. It'll make you hungry. It'll make you creative. It might make you a little slothly, but you won't have anything called physical addiction. Heroin. Let's talk about heroin now, kids. Heroin will make you physically addicted and ruin your life. Like, they should take every little drug and teach kids how they work instead of no, drugs are bad.
Before this talkative asshole,
yeah,
right there.
I did drugs on that show. I'll be straight up honest with the whole world.
Okay.
On that show, I was taking Oxycontin in my trailer.
But I will tell you, here's what I want to
because
say
they
about
told
that.
Everybody at the time, this is a new pill that's non-addictive. Everybody use it.
Here's what I want to say about that.
Yeah.
People mess up. People make mistakes. People go to jail for legitimate reasons. They committed crimes. But society does not have a reintegration program, right? You say you did a horrible crime, you spent 20 years in jail, and then you come out of jail, right? On an application for employment, it says, have you ever been a felon or convicted? If you mark yes, and you mark what horrible thing you did, is the employer going to hire you? No. And you can't get a job, yet you have to live, you have to eat, you have to have shelter. And if nobody will employ you and you cannot gainfully, legally get money, you're going to revert to crime. And then people are going to say, oh, look, he was a criminal before, he's still a criminal, because the system is designed that criminals remain criminals.
Yeah.
You cannot recover. You cannot come back into the workforce and if you're being honest on that application, yes, I've been a felon. Yes, I committed rape or murder or whatever the thing was. You cannot be reintegrated. They will deny you work. They will deny you a job. You will therefore have to steal or do whatever you have to do to live. You'll be recaught, and they'll say, "See, he couldn't be converted. He couldn't be."
I understand.
The system does that.
Oh, of course, but why? That's my big question. Why do we spend so much money, billions and billions of dollars, probably $1 trillion? I don't know, but at least billions and billions of dollars, building all these prisons for drug addicts for the most part, or drug sales, because I know 90% of the people in there are in there for drug related crimes,
or
now,
petty
crime. But the violent criminals, sociopaths, etc., of course we need a place to put them away.
Right, exactly.
But why do we spend so much money? Is it to have? All right, this is a decent. My answer to just thinking about it as I'm asking the question. I think we might do it so that we always have slave labor. I think the prison system might be a way to snag a bunch of people in our country and always have people that we can pay 11 cents an hour to go build.
I agree. It's twofold. It's twofold. Yes. That's number one. Number two is that a lot of prisons are privatized. In other words, they're incentivized to keep people in the prison. So you've got both of those, right? You've got incentivization of keeping people imprisoned, and two, if they cannot reintegrate into society
which they
because
won't,
they're blackballed.
99%.
You know, then they go back into the prison system, and again, catch-22, incentivized to be in prison. And we lock up more citizens than any other
so-called
first world
civilization in the world. Yeah. So why is it? How does the privatization work? Like, do you get a government contract to build?
Yes. So a prison has a government contract, and they get paid per head, right? So if you have 500 people in your prison, you get X dollar amount for each person, and every person that leaves because exoneration or their sentence is up or probation or reprieve, parole, whatever, they go out of the system, they lose money. They need a new person to take their place, or they actively work against the people trying to get out, because if they get out, they lose money.
And then we use even the privatized jails. We use all those people to do labor of some kind.
Of course,
trash on the side of the freeway. Or why aren't they teaching these people to build bridges and set up light poles and
here's the
rebuild
deal.
our infrastructure? If we're going to have slave labor, why don't they do something useful?
Here's the deal. You can make license plates, or you can do firefighting, or you can do. There's a lot of different jobs you can do in prison. But you have two choices. You can either sit in your cell all day long, or you can go out and do something, which, by the way, is free labor. Whatever you do, whether it's firefighting, making license plates, cafeteria work, it doesn't matter. You're either free labor or you're sitting in your cell all day doing nothing. And nobody, I don't care, who you are, nobody wants solitary confinement, right? Like sitting in their cell all day. So you're willing to go out and do this work just so you don't have to sit in your cell. It's you want slave labor, or do you want solitary confinement?
We should be building bridges with and teaching people how to talents. And I know that exists in a very small amount of prisons around the world, but for the most part,
why isn't it about rehabilitation? Why don't we have psychologists, medical doctors? Why don't we look at the cause of what happened and try to rehabilitate? And then while you're spending your time rehabilitating, why don't we educate so that when that person goes out, they are a contributing,
an electrician,
active member of society.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
somebody with a talent,
a skilled worker.
Yeah. All right. So this is something that I'll be honest about as well, since we've stuck on honesty as the topic to spring forth other topics. I just noticed we have this thing called a private chat, and I'm looking at it. Do other people see that thing?
Everybody sees that thing. It's always there, Manu.
Really? I've never seen it.
So
56 shows, I've never seen it.
I just got a text from Michelle.
Yeah.
He meant 7:30 Pacific time.
You know what? All right. I'll just be honest. Since we're speaking about honesty, Dr. Simeon Hein has come on this show before.
Yep.
And I wasn't here. I ditched him. I was in LA, and it was a bummer that I wasn't able to be here for the show. But some people behind Danger and Dangerous Thoughts have told me that Dr. Simeon Hein was a little bit PO'd that day, or a little bit something. I think maybe he's getting his revenge on us tonight. And he's like, I'll book that show again, and I won't show up, and I'll leave them to talk about nothing. I'm Dr. Simeon Hein. If he meant 7:30 Pacific,
I thought I was the drunk one. You're
I'm not drunk. I'm just weird. But wait a second. 7:30 Pacific time. That would be
about 40 minutes from now.
You're a dick.
That's what you get for being in Colorado, Manu.
Yeah, I know.
That's also what you get for
Simeon's been on our show before, so I had a lot of questions for him. And it's too bad that he got his revenge tonight, because I did want to talk to him.
We can still talk to him if you're willing to hang out. He will
hell
be
no.
here.
Hell no. No, I'm about to end the show. So who's what time is it? Yeah, I'm like 8 minutes from calling this episode.
Yeah,
56.
let's take Dave and Mala and
let's bring
Max,
some
and let's
bring some other people in here to chat about what we're chatting about, which is it starts with honesty, and anything you want to talk about it, we're up for it tonight.
Oh,
What's
hey,
up, Dave
look at
Prime?
this. We're doing this
hello.
today.
Hey,
What's
Dave.
up, Mala?
Live from the middle of nowhere, according to Reggie Jackson.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, where are you? Because I thought you were, when you said that you were going on a trip to your high school, what do they call them?
Reunion.
Reunion. Yeah. I've never been interested because I didn't like anybody in high school. So I just didn't go back to those things. But when you said you were doing that, I thought you were from like Seattle, Tacoma area. You sent me a picture from your high school reunion, and it was like 30 miles of empty field and nothingness. I was like, where did you go to high school? There's no high school there. There's not even corn.
Yeah, it's Lewiston, Idaho.
Lewiston, Idaho. So they do have a school there.
Yeah, I booked an Airbnb which a couple miles south of town in the little itty bitty town of Waha in the mountains. So it's about
That's what Doctor Simeon Hein is doing right now.
No, but it's about maybe a 10-12 minute drive to actually get to town. But I mean, I really needed it. I needed to there's got the host of the Airbnbs of the house right across the driveway. There's another.
So you're there now. You're there now.
Yeah. You're actually
I'm there right now
of Waha.
Oh, cool.
It actually looks very pretty. It looks very chill. Like you could go on a walk and not be bothered by anyone.
Oh,
or anything.
No, definitely not. But listen, I'm here for another 2 days.
Except maybe somebody like the Zodiac Killer, maybe. Because you always take that risk. When you go somewhere where there's nobody, you always take the risk of running into a sociopath that's up there going.
Dave was very happy and very comfortable until Manu had to bring up the Zodiac Killer, and now you've ruined his vacation.
Could you imagine?
Thank you, Manu.
Remember that picture that you sent of that extension of field and beauty? Just imagine if you saw like a black hooded figure just slowly start walking.
Yeah.
Oh,
nice.
Up that field, and then you saw that he had like a couple of Glocks, and like he was coming up over the horizon, and when he got like within like a quarter of a mile of your house, he was all Dave Hildebrand.
Dave, why don't you save us a lot of trouble?
You are.
Save us a lot of trouble. Cut your own neck, and then yeah.
I always worry about running into psychopaths in the woods. In fact, if you see me hiking in the woods with my backpack, offering people apples and cheese, I have a gun. I just want you to know I have a gun.
Oh my God. No, but
we're getting canceled. Okay.
The reunion was literally thrown together at the last minute. A lot of classmates said they didn't get the memo. So we're going to work on it for the next reunion, which is going to be in 5 years instead of 10 years.
How was it? How many people were there?
Well, is this 20 or 25? What is your reunion? 20 or 25?
30.
30-year high school reunion.
You're fucking old, Dave. You're old.
You're old.
I'm only 2 years younger than you. I'm 2 years older than him, so I'm like literally right in the middle of you two.
Yeah. You could be our gay kid.
Aw.
Well, with that bleach blonde hair, you are our gay kid. Look at that.
Well, like if me and Tyson were a couple, you kind of look like our son.
Let's talk offline.
Look, the genetics, the genetics of if men can have babies. Oh, sorry. Men can have babies now. I forget all of these woke concepts.
Men do have babies. Every baby that's ever born, a man was involved.
Well, yeah. But I'm saying
they had a role to play.
If we could crap out an adult baby after we boned, it's Dave Hildebrand. That's what I'm saying.
Dave,
yeah,
I would not be honored, but go ahead and take the compliment. Just
My
move on.
30th reunion was last year. No amount of money someone could have offered me to go. Yeah,
Same, Mala. Same.
yeah, same. I'm with you. But
and
I want to know how Dave's reunion was though. Like, did you run into those a-holes that were like there to show off and be proud of their money? No,
no, but it's saying only about not even 10% of the class showed up because my graduating class was about close to 400. So and we only
40
had
people
about
were
like
there.
about 45 people.
Did you recognize any of them?
I recognized quite a few of them, and one in particular was my grade school bully.
Oh,
This,
all
thi-
right.
thi-
Tell
this,
me this story.
this is a bully that he told me one day that he was going to sneak in my room in the middle of the night, chop my ass off, and feed it to his dog.
So did you confront him?
Well, actually, it's an interesting thing because I mean, when he heard I was DJing for the 2 nights, which by the way, everyone loved my music.
Yeah, right on.
So yeah, saying he wanted to see me to apologize for being a dick.
Yeah,
that's
I had
cool.
a very similar
Yeah.
experience. One of my bullies actually apologized to me, and one of the biggest things, especially a 30-year reunion, is half of my classmates are dead, drug overdoses,
Yeah,
whatever.
People
It's
die
like,
a
hey,
lot when they're dead.
hey, 30-year reunion, I'm still alive. Fuck you, bully.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm going on 85 days sober now, and I'm
Yeah.
finding out.
Congratulations, Dave.
So I
That's
get
so
my
awesome.
3-month chip on Friday, so yay.
You
But
know,
yeah, there's a lot of my.
I'm really proud of you for that, by the way. To go to your high
Thank
school
you.
reunion and not drink, like, pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
last night after dinner, I went with a bunch of people. We went bar hopping. I stayed as the sober person, and when we 2 o'clock they'll go out and say, what we're doing is like getting an Uber, and I'm grabbing my keys. Hello, they say, yeah, right here. Because I already offered to take people home. So
cool, man. So you drove drove a bunch of your old friends home. It's a good
You
story.
charge
That's
them?
a decent high school reunion story. My bully came and apologized to me, and I drove
and we hug, and I forget.
home. That's really cool, man.
Yeah,
I used to bully this kid in junior high that was a girl, and she was an ugly girl, and she had a crush on me.
Oh God!
And
Here we go.
this is 6th grade, 6th, 7th,
Here we
6th, 7th, 8th. Oh no, this was 7th grade. And the poor girl, I used to call her Gorilla Girl because she was so ugly. But she wasn't really that ugly. I look back on it and I'm like, she wasn't that ugly. In fact, she was kind of cute. And she was totally unique. Like during show and tell, she would bring up these grasshoppers and that her mother had cooked. And she'd be like, I eat grasshoppers. And of course, in 7th grade, I'm like, that's disgusting, you sick Gorilla Girl.
Meanwhile, you are wiping your ass with your hand towels.
Right.
What you're talking about. Okay. Just level setting. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I actually in PE one time, you know how when people are running and you kick their back foot so that it hits the back of the leg and they fall. I was running behind her and I kicked her back foot, and the Gorilla Girl ate it, man. She just like plowed into the concrete and was bleeding and all this, like, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, and I stopped bullying her after that. But then she asked me out to the dance, and I was like, F no, Gorilla Girl, what are you thinking? You think because I picked you up from the ground that I suddenly want to date you? Are you psychotic? But the truth is, she was a gem, and she was a really cool human being, and I hope she's not dead, and I hope if she ever watches this that she knows that I was just a jerk back then. And kids are so mean. I was a bully back then. I bullied people, and people bullied me too. There was different classes of bully in high school. Yeah. You were on a bully scale somewhere. I was probably in the middle on the bully scale.
Yep.
Yeah, I was definitely at the bottom rung of the ladder on that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, but you mentioned like PE and stuff. There's one time someone hit me in the face with one of those red dodgeballs.
Yeah.
And I fell down, but my glasses, I swear, it just felt like they stayed where my face was. It just like, bam.
Dodgeball's such a horrible. All right, why do adults do this shit? Right? This is the same thing with prisons and all of it. It all goes back to like the beginning of how they keep this society controlled. Why would they give kids dodgeballs? Why would they? Why would you create that game?
You're right.
For kids and tell them let's compete as hard as you can. Everyone run to the middle, pick up a ball, and try to hurt each other as hard as you can.
Here's the question. All those parents used to be kids, right?
Yeah.
They know. So why haven't they taught their kids? Why haven't they taught their kids? Look, when I was a kid, I was bullied. Don't be a bully. When I was a kid, I had these problems. Don't do that to other people. Do you remember when we had the parachute, where everybody stood around the playground and we all had, a part of that parachute and we could, I remember that, that was pretty fun. Like, why do we
elevate competition over teamwork, right?
Prejudice, they say, you take a 2-year-old boy or girl, black or white, and another 2-year-old, black or white, different race. They'll go, at the beach and play in the sand, and they'll have no concept of stereotyping or bigotry or anything. They have no concept. That is taught to them.
Kids do not see race.
They don't. It's taught. It's taught. So why do parents teach bullying? Why do they teach stereotype? Why do they teach bigotry?
An accepted practice, and what's with all the competition? And you just said prejudice. So I'm about to end the show. Mala, what do you want to talk about tonight?
Let's go to Mala. Yeah.
I was worried you were asking me what I was wearing. I'm like, in the
Mala, what are you wearing?
What did I do?
Can I kick you in the back of the foot and call you?
She's got the little angels walking up her chest. That's what it is. I love the little foot.
Brownie. It's because people are going to look there anyway, right? So I may as well decorate it.
Yeah, there you go. Well, but they're little angel footprints. That's what I believe.
They're going to be cat prints soon.
They do look like footprints. They are footprints.
They are
right?
footprints.
Yeah, that's cool.
The little angels. Angels walked up.
The poem footprints.
Are they little angels? What do they actually stand for in your mind?
For the poem footprints.
Oh, how's it go?
It's a long
poem,
actually.
Who wrote it? I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up.
I forget, but it's a great poem, and essentially, it's like a person is talking and about walking along the beach, and sometimes they only see one set of footprints, and sometimes they see two. So they're complaining to Jesus that here are all the times when he left you, but in reality, it's all the times he was carrying you.
He carried you, yes.
I got it.
It's my mother's favorite poem.
One of my favorite. It's one of my favorites, and it's called the Footprint Poem. And oh my goodness, thank you.
Okay, I've got something
one of my favorite.
Footprints in the sand.
Yeah,
Footprints in the sand. Okay. That's it.
Here we go.
That's exactly
One night I dreamed I was walking along the beach with the Lord. Many scenes from my life flashed across the sky. In each scene, I noticed footprints in the sand. Sometimes there were two sets of footprints. Other time there was one only. And this bothered me because I noticed that during the low periods of my life, when I was suffering from anguish or sorrow or defeat, I could only see one set of footprints. So I said to the Lord, "You promised me, Lord, that if I followed you, you would walk with me always. But I have noticed that during the most trying periods of my life, that there's only been one set of footprints in the sand. Why, when I needed you most, have you not been there for me?" The Lord replied, "The times when you have seen only one set of footprints, my child, is when I carried you."
And that is my mother's favorite poem. And I'm very pagan. Like, my tattoos are mostly all pagan except for that one. But she's also my biggest support. She's very Roman Catholic, and they still love me.
I would argue that everything that is Roman Catholic was stolen from the pagans anyway. You might as well.
Including Christmas.
Among
other religions.
Among other religions. that they stole from Mithra, Osiris, blah, blah, blah. But it is a cool little poem. And I like the idea that through the hardest times in our life, when we feel like we're alone, our spirit or God, whatever you want to call it, gets us through. Because I've had some hard times in my life. Dave was just talking about his high school reunion, and he was saying that he DJ'd, and he was saying that people loved his music. And I saw for a moment he almost teared up. And he was like, they like my music. And this, so like the fact that his bully was dancing to his music now, like, all right, so that's cool. That's, you know, that's being carried by some higher power that's greater than what we all are, which is just a bunch of mid-level bullies.
There wasn't a lot of dancing though, because we're all old.
Yeah. Well,
Hey.
one thing that Manu and I talked about before coming live on the show was the
Tyson.
saying that
Neither
I
of
would
us did
rather
that.
be. No, that we would rather be hated for who we are than loved for who we aren't. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, because that is being your genuine self. I would, before I came out as gay, I had adoration, in different directions, for pretending to be something that I really wasn't. And I don't know that I got the love I needed. When I came out as gay, yeah, a lot of people hated me for that. But those that did love me, they loved me for who I really was. And I tell you, it is better to be hated for who you are than loved for who you aren't.
Absolutely. And that is the true Christian ideal. And that's how my parents are, because I've been openly pagan since 91, and I've never had to hide it from my family. And I love and adore them for that.
Charles Pearson just made a comment, and I'm only bringing this up because we're talking about high school reunions. Charles Pearson went to school with me, went to high school with me, and he's actually saying that I'm not that big of a bully. And Chuck, I thank you so much for that. I didn't mean to be a jerk to people in high school. It was just I was a kid, and I was having rough times, and so I took it out on other people sometimes. And
kids do things. I mean,
yeah,
they
kids,
do.
especially kids that are suffering or having tough times at home or tough, I had a really rough childhood. So like, I had to be a dick at some point. I had to, we learn, we grow. But it seems like it's worse these days. It seems like kids these days are like getting bullied so hard that they come to the school with an AK and blow all their classmates away. Like that didn't happen when I was a kid.
Well, there's the internet to spread stupid ideas.
Yeah. So when you're bullied at school,
Yeah.
it's the entire school bullying you now instead of just like doofus from PE class and his buddies. Now you have to go on Facebook and see that the whole school knows that you peed your pants in second grade.
This is going to get me canceled.
And then that video goes viral and millions of people see it. Yeah.
This might get me canceled, but I'm going to say it. Sometimes when I see these kids that shoot up the schools because they were bullied and they were, I think to myself, and then people cry. They cry for the bullies. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Well, why was it okay for him to bully? Why was it? I mean, people have their breaking points. This kid got pushed to his breaking point, and he came and he did something about it. I don't support that. I don't think it's right. I'm not saying it's okay to do that. But where's the sympathy for that guy? Nobody gives sympathy for that guy. Nobody.
I gave you
even though he was bullied his whole life.
I don't think he got canceled.
Even though he's bullied his whole life, nobody has a single drop of sympathy. But they will cry their tears out
that's
for
what
the
you're
bullies.
saying. I get it. You're saying nobody has sympathy for the shooter. Yeah, fuck that guy.
They'll cry their eyes out for the bullies that brought him to that point. Yeah. They will cry their eyes out, but they won't, recognize the guy that got bullied his whole life and finally snapped. Nobody has sympathy for that.
I guess Jesus would have empathy for the shooter, but I don't. Here's the thing: if I was God, and I would just let the kid try again.
See, that really is a social stigma, though. Like you're saying, I mean, people don't think what led up to this event.
Yeah, yeah.
They just
Right,
think
right.
we're going to publish his name. We're not going to tell you who he was because he just wanted to be immortalized for this, that, or the other. But they never talk about why it initially happens.
Well, what makes you a sociopath? I mean, if you get to the point where you're literally going to execute a bunch of different people, whether you're a teenager or you're a junior high student, or what's the youngest kid to ever shoot up a school? Wonder what that is.
That's
Well, there was a 5-year-old
That is
that
a
shot
scary
her,
thought, isn't it?
shot his kindergarten teacher, right?
Oh my
The
goodness!
5-year-old.
All right,
Yeah,
I have no
5.
sympathy for
Yeah.
that 5-year-old. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but if you're already picking up guns to go kill people,
The 5-year-old needs
there's
to go to the
something
electric chair.
wrong. Zap that little
Ready to-
fucker.
Well,
All
that's
right,
the thing. We want people
But-
to take care of life and one another, but yet we still have the death penalty. And while I am for, okay, you murdered someone, you should go to prison for the rest of your life.
I'm not for the death penalty.
Your life. No, that's what I'm saying. I don't
Yeah.
think we as a society should take lives.
All right.
Yeah,
I disagree.
I'm against
And
the death
here's the thing.
I'm
mostly
against
against
the
the
death
death penalty. I know this is, people consider this. Some people consider this like a right wing show. Can you believe
Keep
that? crap?
talking. I gotta pee. I'll be
But
right back.
I know that most people consider us a lefty kind of leaning show, but I think we should have the death penalty for only old people.
They have that in Canada, by the way.
Yeah, I think it should be like no death penalty for anybody that can do like 60 years, 80 years of life. Yeah, stick them away for life. But if you're like 80 years old and
Yeah.
you murder somebody,
What's the point?
you don't get 20 years in prison just to kick back and eat. You get the death penalty because you're 80 and you decided to murder at 80. It's
Right.
time. So I think we should keep the death penalty for old people. And I only had this thought last night because I was watching this show about, one of those the stupid shows about, it's called Kill or Be Killed.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it was about, cases in which, is this a, what's it called when you have the right to kill somebody? Self-defense. Is this self-defense or is it not? And this poor 17-year-old kid was smoking spice. He wasn't even smoking weed and he wasn't even high. But he went home to his grandmother, and his grandmother was like 79 and sick of the kid smoking spice and sick of the kid smoking weed. And so she frickin' shot him and then hunted him around the house and ended his 17-year-old life.
That's not okay.
Yeah, kill that lady. She's 80. Like, just put her in a chair. Like, she does not deserve to go to prison. But if you were like 23 and you were a mom and you got in a fight with your son and you killed your son for some reason, then I'm like, okay, and you were in the wrong. Go sit for prison in 80 years. It's a worse sentence than death.
Well, I have.
Don't you think it's a little different for 80-year-olds versus
Well, I'm not for it in either
at all?
Yeah, I just don't think
society should not kill people. Okay.
No, government, because really these prisons, even if they're privatized, they're getting government funding. They should have absolutely no say in killing another human being.
Yeah,
And
I don't. Yeah, I don't. There's so many reasons
I'm with you.
why.
I'm with you.
There are
But that
people
old
who've
lady
been
was
executed.
mean, man.
There are
She
people
was
who've been
really
executed,
mean.
and then later were found to have been innocent. DNA, showed they were innocent. You can't bring them back to life and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, we messed up."
well,
You can't undo
I saw
it.
another show about an old lady who shot her son, and she like hated her son for like 15 years. She just hated him. And then finally she's like, bam, and she shot him. And she's sitting in the cops are asking her questions, and they're like, do you know that you shot your son? And she goes, did I? Is he dead? And they're like, yeah. And she goes, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, I got him good.
but
And
see,
I'm like,
doesn't
oh
that
my
mean
God.
the woman should probably get some mental health assistance?
Yes, exactly. That's a mental problem. That's
I don't
not
know.
a.
She's 80.
That's
Put her in an
emotional.
electric
That's-
chair. Put her in the chair. Put her in
But-
the chair.
But
Some-
if she's 80, then what is the death sentence? I mean, isn't she going to die in 2 years anyway? Like,
That's my point. Well, you
Well,
were
that's what
peeing.
Mara
You
was
missed
saying.
the whole dang conversation. You can't comment now. You can't come back from a pee and
I
comment.
had to
Tyson.
pee. Sorry, I'm just saying.
All right, no, I'm with you. It's probably not cool for the state or the
Something-
government to decide whether people die or not.
Right.
But what about these sociopaths that, like, there must be those sociopaths that are so hardcore that they've killed a bunch of people outside in the world, and then they get into the lockdown hardcore prison facility and they just keep on killing.
Well,
Like-
that kind of brings me to my next example. Most people aren't aware of this, but I actually went to school with Tim McVeigh's younger sister. We were in the same school district, the whole 9 yards. I knew him. He was in my brother's class. And
You knew Timothy.
Tim McVeigh.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
cool.
And I watched what happened in Oklahoma, like when all
Right. The bombing and
That's what happens when people choose revenge, man. It's ugly.
But
who was the guy that killed Versace? What was his name? Because I knew him.
Well,
Oh,
somebody
that's-
mute Tyson's microphone. Oh, you went to high school with him.
No,
I'm sorry.
I knew the guy that killed.
that's crazy.
All right. So tell
You
me.
just mute him?
Yes. So tell me. Look at the poor guy. I feel really bad for him.
He's just like,
He's like,
Am I muted? Am I muted?
No, you're
Or-
back. You're back. You're
that
back.
was funny.
Who muted me? Who muted me?
God.
Thank you, Cass.
God.
Thank you, Cassie. Cassie, thank you.
Well, Mala was telling a story. I want to let Mala tell her story before.
Go ahead,
Before
go ahead.
All right. So you knew the McVeigh girls, and you knew Tim. And keep
Yeah.
on going.
And he was really kind of a creeptastic guy his whole life. So I wasn't exactly surprised to see that they had made him a scapegoat in an operation that was clearly larger than his brain power was able to harness, right?
Mhm.
So, if I'm totally honest. And I kind of wonder if he'd have made it to this day, if we would look at him and think of him as an incel. Because he just put people off. And
Yeah.
people like that go and do stupid things, and they allow themselves to be pawns in bigger things that they would never think of on their own.
It really is disgusting when you choose revenge, because if you don't know the Timothy McVeigh story, I'll just wrap it up in a quick nutshell for you. Timothy McVeigh was angry about the ATF and what they were doing to people like at Ruby Ridge and what's the other one? Come on, the one
I
in Waco.
But he was one of
Waco.
many angry.
And he was very angry about it, and he had a right to be angry about it. But all these kids were massacred in Waco by the ATF,
Right.
and they were burned alive. Like, we're talking about a bunch of women and children. And McVeigh got angry about it, so he made a big truck full of poop bomb, and he drove it to Oklahoma City, and he parked it under the federal building, and he blew up the federal building in, I think, Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And when he did it, he ended up killing a bunch of women and children. In fact, there was
in the daycare.
daycare in the facility that was where most of the carnage came from. So, like, if you choose revenge, you're choosing the wrong thing, because if a bunch of people kill a bunch of kids, the answer is not go kill all their children. Because that's just going to lead to more children and more children and more children and more anger and more death and more destruction.
Well, everyone heard Tim McVeigh's name, but there were like 5 other known people that were associated with that whole day.
Yeah.
And we don't know their names.
We know
don't
his buddy's
have
name,
them.
but yeah, there were a few more people involved. There was a whole coalition, actually, of like people involved in
It was. It was like an
arming McVeigh
armed
with
movement.
and convincing him to do it. And
So the guy,
yeah.
I remembered his name, Andrew Cunanan. That's the one who killed Versace. Andrew Cunanan.
And you went to high school with him?
No, I knew him from Hillcrest. He was from
What's
San
Hillcrest?
Diego. He was a gay guy. West Hollywood in San Diego. That's what Hillcrest
Okay,
is.
you knew him from hanging out in the district.
I knew him from hanging out in the district. Yeah, Andrew Cunanan.
Oh, I remember Andrew Cunanan. Yeah, I saw this whole
He
documentary.
killed Versace. Yeah, I knew him. I knew him.
What did he do it for? What was his beef?
I don't know why he ultimately. I mean, he was always into wealthier people. You know how if you're a poor person and you're gay and you're young and cute and Mexican and you find
just
an older white guy
wanted
who's
to-
willing to take care of you, and that's what it was. Now maybe Versace decided he was gonna cut him off or whatever. I don't know what. Yeah, and
that was the documentary, and he was like, no, you're not cutting me off. You're taking care of me forever, man.
Probably. That's probably it.
Human beings, man, we are so stupid sometimes.
We suck.
Catie, do you have anything to say before we end the show tonight?
Catie.
Dangerous thoughts, honesty tonight with Catie.
Oh,
by the way, before Catie goes, because Catie always reminds me, if you enjoyed the show, we normally have guests. We normally have a different format. We don't just talk crap, but maybe talking crap is what we should do. I don't know. We're on show 56. We're just getting it together. But follow, like the show. If you watched and you enjoy it, share it on your social media. Click follow, click like, click subscribe, and smash that button and share it with your friends.
And Callie says hi to Catie. Callie says hi.
Our last guest tonight is the wonderful Catie, who, if you go to dangerousthoughts.show, does Catie's Corner for us almost every week, I think. And it's a lot of really interesting topics to read about. So please go check out Catie's Corner and go check out dangerousthoughts.show. All right, Catie, what's up?
I just want to thank you all for breaking me this entire show. I have done... Honestly, I nearly fell off my bed. I was laughing so much earlier.
Right? Yeah, Manu wiping his ass on the hand towel will do it, right? That is hilarious.
It's not funny to watch, I promise you. It's...
This is revoked, by the way.
What about
being so broken?
I said your invitation to Toronto is revoked after that whole story. Val can still come though.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Well, you're welcome. I'm glad we had some humor. I always think when you start with the topic of honesty that you either get to humor or some reason to be canceled. Or both. And now we have our guest, Doctor Simeon Hein, joining us live.
Hey guys.
And
sorry.
God dang, we wanted to talk to you
traveler,
tonight.
And I was traveling in the wrong parallel dimension for the show for the last hour or so.
That's okay. I'll be right back.
I can't do this. All right, so I totally boned out on you the first time, Dr. Simeon.
I'm getting you back, man. It's payback time.
Yeah, I figured it was payback. So can we do this show again some other time though? Because we've been talking for an hour and I was about to end the show. Sure. Can we reschedule? I really do want to be here, and I'm really interested in all your topics, and I would love to ask you questions instead of just Tyson.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Okay, so Cassie, do you know when we have a hole in the schedule?
Next week.
Really?
Next week. Literally next week.
All right.
When?
Can we do this next Sunday, Doctor?
I think so. Yes, I don't see why not.
Oh, bitchin'. All right. So it's great. This is great. It's a healing show. It really is. The doctor got us back, and we've healed, and we both love each other, and we're going to do this show again next week and talk about awesome stuff. Like Dr. Simeon is into like some really cool stuff. Not only crop circles. I used to have notes on all this stuff, but aliens, different plasmas, different. This is one question I wanted to ask you, and I'll do this. This will be the last question.
Yeah.
We'll just get. There was something to do with the effects of ball lightning, and I was interested in its anti-gravitational effects.
Right.
And there was also something that I read in your notes about a new kind of matter. Can you speak on what is the new kind of matter, and what do we know about anti-gravity?
That is a very good question. It's a new old type of matter. It's coherent matter. It's when matter is coherently interconnected that the particles become a wave. They give up their individual identity and they just become one big wave, and has different properties than the type of matter we're normally around. We're not talking about solids or liquids or gases. We're talking about one step past plasmas.
We're not even talking about plasma. See, that was
They're
what I
one
thought.
step past plasmas. Plasmas are the most common form of matter in the universe by far, 99% plus.
Yeah.
You know, aurora borealis, nebulas, glowing gases that you see in the photos from our space telescopes, that's all plasmas for the most part. Fluorescent
But
bulbs.
is it changed? Is it changed like a light particle? Is it like a photon? Is it changed when it's observed as opposed to when it's not observed?
That's a good question. That's a slightly different. That's a little different question. There is been 100 years of debate about that, and we can get into that in the next episode.
Yeah, let's do it. But this new matter
is matter that's past plasmas, that's
coherent,
organized, and that's where all the magic starts. And that's what we see in these life forms, these cryptids, these ball lightnings and orbs, things around portal areas, Skinwalker Ranch, all have these types of orbs, which from my research, and we'll get into all of the sources, it's not just you and me talking about it. We're talking about Department of Energy has looked into this, Air Force. Lockheed Martin has a patent in it that we can talk about.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
Harnessing coherent matter as a way of creating long-distance communications, action at a distance. Really interesting.
And anti-gravity too. Invisibility, all this stuff.
Yes. And non-local, because quantum entanglement. You know that.
You can also tell my co-host is butt-faced, so you wouldn't want to be on tonight.
Would you stop? Would you quit? Would you quit? No, seriously, non-local. I mean, that was something that Einstein said. Strange effects at a distance, right?
Spooky action at a distance.
Spooky action at a distance.
For real. And I will bring the Lockheed Martin patent for systems and methods of creating coherent matter wave beams. They say it's all real. We're not talking about. I mean, it's paranormal for us because a lot of weird things are based on this type of matter, in my view. But once the defense contractors start getting patents in it, it just becomes next level.
It's not a real show. It's not a real show until Tyson says what he's about to say right now, which is we have five senses.
Will somebody mute Tyson?
Okay. We have the five senses. We have the five senses, right?
Please mute him again. All right, thank God. All right, Simeon.
No, stop. Look.
Same time.
No. Same time, channel. Same bat channel next Sunday, 6 o'clock.
All right.
Pacific Standard Time with Dr. Simeon Hein, and we'll get into coherent matter, what the government is doing with it, and all sorts of fun topics. Yeah, I can't wait. And Tyson, sober up for this next show, you son of a bitch.
Fuck you! You were drunk at the last show. All right.
All right. Well, the next one we're going to be serious. We're talking about reality. All right. Thank you, everybody, and tune into Dangerous Thoughts
See you
next
Sunday,
week.
Guys.
And check out Catie's blog.
Oh, check out Catie's blog, Catie's Corner on DangerousThoughts.show. Dr. Simeon, thanks for showing up. We will see you next Sunday at 6 when the circles of time go forward a week.
Intersect next time. They will meet.
All right.
What? That's crazy.
Try to pet him.
No, that little got the big ass big gun over there. Fuck you.
Take it to them. Ruin their motivation to survive. Private side is like the jungle holding rest of a nation. You couldn't hold me like a tongue, you need to last in the weight. Hey, gorilla hearted, I be in my chest and stay alive. Take it to them. Ruin their motivation to survive. Private side is like the jungle holding rest of a nation. You couldn't hold me like a tongue, you need to last in the weight. Hey, gorilla hearted, I be in my chest and stay alive. Hey.